There was just questions from the subcommittee about what does it look like to conversate with ITD. So can you give a little, like, how that process happens? Because I think that was an unknown in working with ITD.
So staff, we have several great partners with ITD at various levels, and especially here in our district. So we'd reach out to them and say, hey, we've got a thought, we'd like to get together and meet with you, lay out the process, lay out everything that's come up to this point so they know it's not just a new idea that we're coming up with, but provide them all the information and the details and see what kind of agreement we could come to, if any.
And Catherine, with this intersection, Washington Street intersection, that is part of US 95, and ITD really does have the final say-so on what will or will not happen to that, and it's for a number of different reasons. So we're kind of, in some respects, we're a little bit at the mercy of what they think, but we've had a pretty good working relationship with them, so we'll just have to see what falls with that. Brand, you had another question.
Yes, with the, addition of the hawk light, or could this, I know we're waiting for bids, what if the total amount exceeds the $250,000 for the grant?
So my understanding is there's the $250,000 for the Child Pedestrian Safety Grant. There's also funding within sidewalks and then pavement maintenance and whatnot, signage, that we could not flex those funds, but appropriate them appropriately to cover those expenses.
Thank you.
Okay, well, Jen, we do have a couple of folks from the subcommittee. I'd like to ask them if they'd like to come up and speak right now. I know Phil's here, and so is Brian Johnson. How about you guys coming up and giving us a quick overview? And of course, I know you folks, but please state your name and your address if you would be kind to do that.
Phil Cook, 804 Eisenhower Street. I was amazed that Jen could do a 2.5-hour meeting in 5 minutes or less.
Chop, Phil.
That was amazing. And the memo from Met Les wasn't available in the packet earlier, so we just got a copy a couple of minutes ago. So I think everything in there correctly states what the subcommittee concluded. Jen accurately stated it, so I don't really have anything to add other than, we hope the city will pursue option one, and that ITD will come along with us. So.
Well, that's our intentions, Phil. So we'll just have to see what happens, but that's how we're going to approach it.
I'm happy to answer questions, but I think it's been characterized in the memo, and Jen and Catherine also.
All right.
So.
Thank you, Phil.
Yeah.
Brian, you want to come up? Or you?
I'd say the same thing. Thank
Okay, I'll tell you what. That's good enough. We got a. Was there any other folks? Joanne, you want to come up and speak? Come on up here, Joanne, because we got to ask you. Even though we all know who you are, you got to tell us who you are and give us your address, and we'll give you a few minutes.
Joanne Manita, 203 South Howard. I wanted to ask what a hawk signal is.
It's an acronym.
Hand-activated
Yep.
walking
Yep.
Something.
something.
Yeah.
And activated walking.
So it has two
Gizmo.
lights and one light, and so they're
Gizmo,
Wi-Fi
is
and
it?
they're solar panel. They have solar panels to recharge them, and so when somebody comes up to an intersection, they hit one of the buttons, and it communicates with the one across the way, and it gives lighting designations to cars to let them know that a pedestrian's coming, and it goes through a process of lights, and then the pedestrian can go, and then they turn back off. So they're dark until somebody hits them to go
Doesn't
across.
activate
Oh,
something.
like they have a WSU for pedestrians to cross?
A little bit fancier, these cycle through yellow,
Series of lights.
flashing yellow, and then red.
Yeah.
It's like a traffic light
So
that's
it's like a
activated by the
traffic light.
pedestrian.
Traffic light?
Yeah.
Actually,
Not
they're in the
quite, there's
driver's
no
license
green,
manuals.
because it just goes dark when you're clear to go through.
If you go through the Idaho driver's license manual, it's on a page. There's Hawk. There's a
Hey.
page of them.
Bill, would you, are we saying this accurately? You look like Yancey over there, like we're saying some wrong things. You want-
No, you're doing wonderfully. But it is a pedestrian-activated stoplight. It is a technical stoplight that vehicles have to stop for pedestrians, but it's only activated pedestrians when they need to cross.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
So what does the K stand for?
Well, it's a high-intensity activated, I couldn't tell you what the K stands for.
WK or,
Walk,
Okay.
W-A-L-K.
hey, maybe it stands for walk.
No, I can't remember.
Okay.
And you're moving the median to the north, so it's not in the middle of the street here at the high school?
That's
You
how I
answer
That was,
that.
that was the recommendation from Alta. It's just moved a little bit to the north, and then there's parking behind it. So it has the protected bike lanes, and then it has the median and the parking's behind it, and then you have the driving lanes.
I see.
And there's still room for art and introduction to the corridor and all that kind of stuff.
And when are you putting in the raised sidewalk, raised crosswalks?
Hopefully the one at Adams we can get done this summer.
Okay, so they're part of this project?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Good, okay.
Thank you, Joanne.
Your Honor,
Yes.
as I'm sure the council desires, the Hawk Beacon is a high-intensity activated crosswalk beacon.
Okay,
I
Beacon.
guess they use Hawk for short.
K stands for
Okay.
beacon.
Okay, so this,
I think the
I
K
think
in
we-
walk and crosswalk.
okay. Hopefully I'll remember what that acronym is
They didn't want to say
tomorrow.
Hob.
And the only other item that I might add on is, Brandy had the question previously about the two-way bike lane and the Jefferson intersection improvements. And as I understand it, as we discussed at the Transportation Commission, the two-way bike lane really probably wouldn't be placed until that work in Jefferson could happen. So the striping of the two-way bike lane would probably be the last item once the Jefferson intersection improvements have been completed, because that island and all of the striping for all of the intersection movements really have to happen concurrently at one time.
That makes sense. That's why it won't become confusing.
But it would still happen before we don't have to wait for ITD to let us know what will happen beyond that. Is that?
Well, I think we probably do for Jefferson, because it has an impact heading to the west
Jefferson
and
will
how that would
change.
be striped. So it really does hinge, everything that could happen this summer, including the elevated crosswalks and the curb bulbs and the side streets, could happen this year. But I think the two-way bike lane striping really could not be implemented until the decision on whether that's going to continue on, and then the appropriate improvements at Jefferson could be completed, because there are some curb bulbs that are a little bit different depending upon whether it's a two-way bike lane or not there.
Anybody else out there want to come up and speak for a minute or two? Okay, what would council like to do?
I think we should receive the report and carry on as proposed, see if we can get ITD on board, and proceed with the project as we can until we hit a roadblock, especially from Jefferson Street West. But the rest of it, let's go.
Okay, you want to put a motion on
Yeah,
that, Art?
Yeah, let's motion that.
I'll second whatever that
Okay.
motion was. And thank the subcommittee members that are in the room for yet another 2.5 hours of your lives. I appreciate the diligence.
Lori, did you get the motion?
The upshot is just to proceed with what we've got,
Right.
with the possible exception of Jefferson Street intersection with Third heading west, and to proceed with the rest of the project.
Right.
Everybody good on that? If you got a question, Brad?
I think, do you have a question, Catherine? Sorry, but
I do.
Well, I think I feel very relieved to know that the Transportation Subcommittee met on this, because they had put so much time in and understood all the options and seen Alto's report, and it makes me feel a lot more confident. So I appreciate
My
that.
question just had to do with the 50,000, not the 50,000, but the, do we have to put in the motion about working on pulling out that piece where the contractor can do the crosswalk? Remember the 50,000? Wait, do we have to put that
Yeah,
in?
staff would bring that back to you and to let you know how the change order process would go, or if there was a separate contract that we would
Okay.
do, and that would come back to council.
Okay, thank you.
That's part of the mail, so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I don't hear a second yet.
Yeah, Gina
I
seconded.
seconded it like
Yeah,
3
she
days
said-
ago.
She was.
Thank you.
She seconded long ago, Art, so.
Good job, Gina.
Everybody good on
Stealth.
this? Let's start to roll with Brandy.
Aye.
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 Okay, thank you very much. We know which direction we're going. Thank you, Jen, for that
Thank you.
report.